Good morning, students. In the last class, we discussed about grade of service for link services. Grade of service for link services. So, in that, we discussed about how to find the blocking probability for 2-stage and 3-stage link systems in different modes. So we know that already these link systems can be operated in mode 1, mode 2 and mode 3. Okay. Now in this class we will start with the problem for finding the grade of service for a 3-stage link system in mode 1 for the different configurations. So later we'll start our next topic in unit number 5. So here a fully connected network, 3-stage network has 100 incoming trunks and 100 outgoing trunks, and you know that already for a 3-stage switch it requires 3 stages, that means A links and B links. 1 to 2 is A links and the stage 2 to stage 3 is B links. So they are given as 100 A links and 100 B links and 100 outgoing trunks. And one more point they given is, in each stage they are using 10 cross 10 switches. Primary switch size, secondary switch size as well as tertiary switch size is 10 by 10. And the grade of service in mode 1 is 0.01. So they given this as 0.01. Nothing but B is nothing but your B1 is nothing but your 0.01 is given. When the trunk occupancy is 0.39. Okay. So what they are trying to ask here is, for the same traffic we have to find out the GOS if the number of links and secondary switches are increased by 20% and 50%. So if it is increased by 20%, it becomes 120. If it is increased by 50%, it becomes 150. Okay. Now we have to find out the values here. So B is equal to C is equal to given as how much? That is 30 by, since it is increased by how much? 20%, should as 120. And we will give some value. Okay. Our objective is to find B1. What 1 suffix indicates? This is operating in mode 1. So B1 is equal to the formula 1 minus of 1 minus A whole square whole power number of stages in second stage. This is the formula, right? So I have to substitute these values here. A or B, what it will be? 1 minus B whole power 2 whole power G by 2. So from this, try to find the value of B. What is the value of G2 here? G2 is increased by how many percent? It is 20%. So this becomes 1.2. G2 is equal to 1.2. Simplify it to get the value of blocking probability or grade of service for mode 1. Similarly, this is for first case. For second case also, do the same thing, but B is equal to C is equal to how much? 30 by how much given here? This is 39, sorry, this is 39. 39 by 120. So here also it is B is equal to C is equal to 39 by 150. Okay, or you can write as 0.39 by 1.5. 0.39 by 1.5. Everything is okay. Similarly, what about G2 in this case? In this case, G2 is equal to 1.5. So substitute these values and simplify to get the blocking probabilities in 2 different cases. This is a problem regarding finding the grade of services of a 3-stage link system in mode 1 for different number of links and for different number of secondary switches. Now the next topic is call packing. So what is call packing means? So in practical cases, so when we'll get less blocking, we'll get less blocking when we are using the random selection of your outlets or links. So the less blocking is obtained when links are not allocated at random than when they are allocating in random. Okay. So how to decrease the blocking probability means, if you are maximizing the number of available paths or possible paths, then definitely you can able to minimize the blocking probability. The chance of call being blocked is minimized if the number of possible paths available is maximized, obviously. So here, in case of call packing, what they will do means, here you have to think about 2 points. One is called as heavily loaded trunks. Another one is lightly loaded trunks. Okay, so here generally the call is established by utilizing the heavily loaded trunks. Generally, each call to be set up is routed through the heavily loaded part of the network, which can still take its subsequent calls. That is called your heavily loaded trunks or heavily loaded parts of the network. At the same time, so we are also having some lightly loaded parts of the network also. So here, what the thing here is, you have to clear down these lightly loaded trunks or paths whenever the call is terminated, so that it is going to use the heavily loaded trunks or paths. So this process is called as call packing. Okay. So call packing means, whenever it is using a lightly loaded parts for establishing call, so once the call is completed, terminated, then have to clear down all the lightly loaded trunks, so that always the calls are trying to move towards the heavily loaded trunks. So this process is called as call packing. Generally, with the help of call packing, we can able to reduce the blocking probability. Blocking. You can reduce blocking. This is one way. So call packing reduces blocking by selecting the most or called as heavily loaded parts of the network for each new connection setup. Because what I am trying to do here, we are going to terminate or clear down the lightly loaded parts in case of call packing. So what is next one is rearrangeable networks. What's the meaning of rearrangeable? So then the objective of this particular rearranging network is, we have to make a non-blocking into a blocking into a non-blocking network with the help of some algorithms. Okay, because such type of networks are called as rearrangeable networks. Generally, it is a blocking network, but with the help of some algorithms, we are trying to make it as non-blocking. That type of networks are called as rearrangeable networks. So the process here is, so existed lightly loaded parts of network were cleared down before those heavily loaded parts. So this is the process that they are going to use in rearrangeable networks, okay, for making a non-blocking to a blocking to a non-blocking network. So clearing is not possible because call terminations are caused by actions of customers, because we cannot clear the call on our own, because whenever the subscriber terminates his call, then only it will terminate. Therefore, this is not in our hand. The process of clearing the lightly loaded parts is not in our hand. So for that, they are using some algorithms to do the same job. Okay, this type of process is called as rearrangeable networks. So the equivalent result will be obtained if every time a call ended, all the remaining was cleared down and again we are going to set up the call using a call packing rule. In the call packing rule, what we did? We are clearing the lightly loaded calls and transfer to the heavily loaded parts. Okay, the network that is operating in this mode is called as a rearrangeable network. So eliminating blocking by rearranging network is called as a non-blocking in a wide sense. See this one? Wide sense and strict sense. We use these two words. Wide sense means naturally it is a blocking. With the help of some algorithms, you are making it into non-blocking. Here are using rearrangeable networks for making a blocking network a non-blocking network. Hence, this is called as a non-blocking in wide sense. And the next topic is strict sense non-blocking networks. What is the meaning of strict sense? The network itself and non-blocking. Okay, such type of networks are called as non-blocking, strictly non-blocking networks. One of the best example of strictly non-blocking is a single stage switch. Always a single stage switch is non-blocking in nature. But we are going for multi-stages. We know that in case of single stage, we don't have any multiple paths. There are no alternate paths. And moreover, it consumes more number of cross points. So that's the reason why we are moving to the number of stages. But they are blocking in nature. Okay. So here, if a network can never have blocking, no matter what existing connections are present, and without any need of rearrangeable connections, the network is said to be a non-blocking in a strict sense. Okay. So inherently, single stage is an example for a non-blocking in strict sense. So single stage network is an example for strictly non-blocking. In order to make two-stage networks strictly non-blocking, okay, but for overcome the above problems in single stage, we'll go for multiple stages. If you take an example of two-stage, in two-stage, then it itself is a blocking structure, blocking network. So to convert this into a non-blocking, what you have to do? You have to choose the number of links equal to the outgoing trunks. If you do this, then definitely the two-stage blocking network become a two-stage non-blocking network, or it become a non-blocking strict sense. Okay. So strictly non-blocking, it is necessary to make the number of links from primary switch to the secondary switch equal to the number of outlets. Okay, if you did this, generally the number of cross points will increases more than your single stage. As the engineer object is to reduce the number of cross points. So further go for multiple stages. Generally we will not prefer even stages. Generally even stages will not reduce your number of cross points. Only the odd number of stages will reduce the number of cross points. Okay. So in case of two-stage switches, how many cross points are required? N cross points are required at for each switch. So total what is the number of cross points here? C suffix 2 means what? Two-stage switch. So 2n into n. And then gives the number of cross points that are required. For four-stage networks, to make strictly sense non-blocking, it requires more number of cross points than your single-stage switch. Generally, we are not choosing the even stages network for designing a non-blocking circuits, strictly non-blocking circuits. And next one is networks having odd number of stages can be made strictly non-blocking with fewer cross points than single stages. So to prove this, we'll try to take a problem. We'll try to take a three-stage switch as an example. Consider a three-stage network in which each primary switch has n inlets and ternary has n outlets. Okay. the greatest number of calls that a primary switch can carry. Already we discussed this topic in unit number 2 itself, right? How to design, how to convert a blocking 3-stage into a non-blocking 3-stage. Here also apply the same concept here for explanation purpose. This is this diagram. So here, this is your primary switch, and this is the ternary switch I am taking here. So what they are trying to explain here. So out of how many are there here? I can take it as n inlets, right? Out of n, this is your free inlet, and remaining n-1 are busy lines. So since they are busy, they are going to use that the outlets are connected to any one of the secondary stage. So out of all these, it contains only one free stage. So this is the one free outlet, and remaining all, some 2 to n-1 are busily connected to the second stage of the secondary switches. At the same time, if the outlet, if the tether switch in the tether switch chooses different, this is 1, this is 2, 3, n-1, different secondary switches outlets than your outlets of your first stage. That means they are connected to n-1 different secondary switches, and this is also connected to the n-1 different secondary switches. So in that case, our objective is to connect this inlet outlet to this inlet. This is free inlet outlet of primary stage 1, and this is the free inlet of ternary stage. Okay, so to get this path, we have to use an extra secondary switch in the second stage. Then only, without blocking, you can able to establish a connection from the free outlet of primary stage to the free inlet of ternary stage. Therefore, in this case, to make a 3-stage switch non-blocking, we have to add how many stages of how many modules have to add, means n-1 plus n-1 plus 1, that is equal to 2n-1. We have to use 2n-1 stages in the secondary stage to make a 3-stage blocking into a 3-stage strictly non-blocking network. Okay, so if we convert like this, we have to compare this with single stage in terms of cross points also, right? So the worst case of blocking will occur when the busy links from the primary switches and the busy links to the ternary switches terminate on different secondary switches. This is the worst case. You see, right? n-1 of primary switch, that means nothing but your link, the call them as links, right? What is link? So this is link A, this is link B, right? Link A and link B. So here what they are saying, in the worst case, the n-1 links from the primary stage terminates on the secondary stage. Similarly, n-1 links from secondary are terminated to the ternary switch. Both are terminated on different switches of secondary stage. So in that case, to make it non-blocking, we have to add one more secondary switch to make it non-blocking. So this is the explanation for converting a 3-stage block into a 3-stage non-blocking network. But the drawback here is you have to add more number of stages in the secondary stage, more number of switches in the secondary stage. So now we see, after doing these modifications of a 3-stage network, what is the cost of the network now? So the primary switch contains how many switches? N by N, because you are dividing N inlets into some modules. Each module is having N inlets, so N by N is the number of primary switches. Similarly, N3 is also same. N3 is equal to N by N. What about the secondary switches? To make a blocking into non-blocking, how to use this many number of switches, 2n minus 1 switches. So this is nothing but G3. G3 is equal to 2n minus 1. What about cross points counts? Cross points in stage 1 plus stage 2 plus stage 3 is going to give the total number of cross points. So in the primary, how many are there? N into 2n minus 1. And ternary is also same. What about secondary? Contains N by N whole square. Because the size of the second switch is N by N. Like we have N by N stages. So totally it has N by N cross points. So next what we have to do? We have to, for what value of N, it is going to give minimum number of cross points. For that what we have to do? We have to do differentiating. So dc3 by dn is equal to 0. So differentiate this equation with respect to n and equate to 0. So it is going to give this expression 2n cube minus nn plus n is equal to 0. So here, if you solve the equation, the roots are, take only the integer roots. It may give some complex values also, but our objective is to take only the real integers. So I am going to do integers here. N is equal to 2 is one integer and n is equal to 3 is another integer. So for this value of n is equal to, the number of inlets is equal to 16 and it is for 27. We have to know that this value of n is far from greater than 1. In that case, we can take some approximation for the above equation. Here I am taking n cube, right? So we can approximate this equation to this one, 2n square minus n is equal to 0. Okay, so for this, we will get the value of n as square root of n by 2. This is the optimum. Already in the last class we discussed, right? For n is equal to root n for 2-stage switch for optimum number of cross points, and n is equal to root n by 2 for optimum number of cross points in 3-stage switch. This is the formula. So after substitute this value, the number of cross points is equal to this one, 2 power 5 by 2 into n power 3 by 2 minus 4n. If you choose the optimum value as n is equal to square root of n, in that case, the value of C3 is 6n 3 power 5 by 2 minus 3n. So we will get the optimum values only when the n is more than 28. So below 28, the number of cross points in 3 stages are more than the number of cross points in single stage. So to get a smallest number of cross points, then first stage means we have to choose a value of n is greater than 28. Then only the number of cross points in 3 stages are less than the number of cross points in single stage. If you keep on increase the number of stages, you can able to reduce the number of cross points further.